That first week, so I just finished my full-time job. I look at my calendar, I got nothing in there, right?
Wow.
There's no emails coming through. And I was like,
That was your first video?
First ever YouTube video, got 100,000 views in like a few months. And Joe just got crazy opportunity out of it. And I was like, bro, that's amazing. But the most important moral of the story is that he was trying to do something positive. The second aha moment was my colleague at the full-time job I was with said to me, you will never leave this place. Yeah, we need some alcohol.
I got my brother Tak from Zoku Creative.
What's happening, brother?
This man is one of the guys that actually got me into the game. So he's got a lot of wisdom to share about videography and a bit of marketing and generally how to run a business. So Tak, man, welcome to the show.
Thank you, bro. Yeah. It's been a long time coming.
Oh, we've been trying to get this podcast going, haven't we?
Yeah. Disclaimer, we did do one.
Yeah. Now, no, the thing with that particular one is that I think I forgot to record the audio, or rather, I thought I saved the audio, but I actually didn't. But anyways, tell me a bit about yourself, man. Like a bit about your journey, where Zoku came from, like, and how did we actually meet?
How much time do we have?
We have a lot of time.
Well, I come from a digital marketing, or actually graphic design background. Then I went into digital marketing. Then I ended up becoming a videographer. But they all sort of link with one another. So how did we meet? Well, we met through my wife, as you will know. You guys went to uni together.
That's right.
And then as I got into videography on Facebook, you put up a post saying, do I have any videographer friends on here? And then I connected with you through that, and the rest is history.
No, it was an interesting time because I saw a story that you did for the former mayor of Blacktown, and I saw that like, wow, this guy's work is amazing. I really want to like have a chat with him. But the thing is, we haven't seen each other for 10 years at the time, and it was like one of those, I would say, fateful reunions. And it seemed in my business journey, it's sort of happened. It happened a lot. Like when you sort of put the intention out there, things just start happening back at you, kind of thing. So you meet people, or you start doing things, and you go to some events, and things just snowball from there. Has it been the same with you?
100%. Like I feel I'm a very spiritual person, especially when it comes to like everything happens for a reason. You meet the right people at the right time. And after that conversation we had, and we said, hey, come over to mine.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you recall, but we saw that owl.
Yeah.
Next door. We were chilling in the back, and then we looked up, and just on the TV antenna, there was this massive owl.
I remember that.
And I was like, bro, like owls are like a big omen thing as well, like positive. And I've never seen an owl there. To this day, it's been 5 years since I've lived in the house. And that owl was just like a special moment. And from there, we both grew, as you would agree.
Yeah, massively.
Expansion. Can't even say the word. We grew like to another level in our own different ways. And we've gone through so much since that time we saw that owl. So yeah, man, it's been very special.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Like, spirituality is something I'm sort of discovering. It's not a big thing for me yet. And for you, it's always been a massive thing. What does it mean for you as an entrepreneur, as a creative entrepreneur, to have that spirituality and that belief in yourself, others, and where things would take you?
Yeah, I mean, I like to say I'm spiritual, but I did say I'm spiritual, but I'm still, obviously, it's one of those things you just never stop being more spiritual, if that makes sense. Became a Christian last year, but I'm far from like the ideal Christian person I want to be. And it can be spiritual in many different ways. I'm trying to find more, get my faith a lot stronger than what it should be, and be a proud Christian. So I don't really tell people that I'm a Christian because I'm not a proud Christian yet. I think it's important because, just through everyone's journeys, like what you've been through, and, my wife's a Christian. She comes from a very strong Christian family.
Yeah.
And that's why, it opened my eyes into that world. And now that I have kids, and I see all the benefits of, going to church and learning and all of that sort of stuff. But I'm not here to preach, but I think it's just, if you want to become a good person, I think it's important to have like, strong values in faith, and that will help you get to become like, a better person, and that will ultimately help with business as well.
Man, that's we're going deep already. Like I'm actually thinking about, here's the thing. How's this for interconnectivity? Now, you helped me get into the game. you basically got me one of my first a few staff here. So Jerome, the reason why I met Jerome is because I met you. So that's
you
kind
stole
of
him.
I stole
When I was contracting him out. Yeah.
I tend to do that, don't I? I sort of bring them into my circle. But like the point I'm trying to make here is just that once you, and this is a bit of a spirituality talk for anyone who's starting a business or anything like that, just setting that intention of where you want to go. And eventually just pieces start falling into place, connections start to happen. You're really sort of vibing with it in a way that, you know, the conversations that you have, the people that you meet, the places that you go to, and the information you try to consume, it all helps you to get towards your goal as a business owner. And that's what I think.
100%. I think like me going into my own business had nothing to do with faith or spirituality. It was a time, you know, and you know, you've been running your own business outside of video for many years. So you're already accustomed to doing that. But for someone like me who's worked corporate his whole life, and I've had many side businesses and side hustles ever since I was young, but going full-time into my own business was very new to me. So that was nothing to do with spirituality, but in my own belief, it was mindset. I was always ready to do it, but didn't have the balls big enough to actually go, you know what, I'm ready to actually go and do this now. A lot of my side businesses weren't making the money that I needed to earn to be able to go, hey, I'm ready to like go off and do this side business. Whereas video, even though I was doing it full time for a business, I was getting a lot of opportunities outside of it to make some money. And then I felt confident within my own skills. I was, you know, doing video for about 6 years before I decided to go full time into it myself. But during those 6 years, like made a lot of connections within the industry. I was confident in my skills. And then I was like, okay, now I'm ready to sort of take it to the next level. But there was many different elements that led me to doing it.
I'm going to talk about your videos in a moment, but before we get there, you've made the jump. What does it take for someone to, and I know my answer for this as well, but what does it take for someone to be like going from the 9 to 5 to becoming a business owner? What is that spark? When is the right time? And I feel like as a new business owner or people who are actually looking to do more side hustle that would replace their income eventually, what's that spark?
Yeah, it's a really good question. For me, there's a number of things. It's not for everyone. I know that for a fact. So I had the perfect job. Debatably, I had the perfect job. I could have died at that job. Paid well enough for me to be able to live comfortably for the next 30, 40 years. I could have died there. Could still go on holidays. I could, you know, I had a lot of good flexibility, but it wasn't giving me what I wanted, like mentally, physically, emotionally. Like I wanted more. It depends on the type of person you are. I've always been a go-getter ever since I was young. And for me, it was like, I wanted something more. I've never been financially driven. And with that job, there was a lot of repetitive work.
Yep.
So creatively, I wasn't growing.
100%.
So there was that. But the number one thing was my mindset, because I could have done it 3 years after working full-time in video, but it took me 6 years. And the reason why it took me 6 years is, I go back to saying it, look, I didn't have the balls.
So it's fear.
100% fear. Like I've got 2 kids. Got my wife, we got a mortgage. It's so much easier to just work a full-time job.
100%.
And especially when you're very comfortable in it and you know the security is there. But the second you go full-time into your own business, like I don't know what's on that other side because I've never done it before. I've always had it as a side hustle. And when you're very comfortable, it's very difficult to do that. But for me, it was like the mindset aspect was like crazy. Like I was like always going, I think the biggest thing was actually the people around me. So I'll tell you the moment that I decided that I was going to do it. There's 2 moments.
All right.
The first moment was I was having dinner on a round table with a group of my friends, and they're all entrepreneurs, and they're talking about how much their business was worth. Some of them were like, you know, in the millions and stuff like that. And I felt very small on that table because I was like, oh, I'm this guy that's working full-time.
That's the best place to be.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm working full time and I don't have like a voice in this table. That's how I felt,
Yeah.
right? That was my first sort of aha moment. And then the second aha moment was my colleague at the full-time job I was with said to me, "You will never leave this place."
Oof.
Yeah. And that really hit me in the heart because I've been saying I'm going to leave, but not like, I was like, I'll leave one day, not like a time frame. I'll leave one day. And he's like, "You'll never leave this place." And at my farewell speech, I said that exact same thing. I was like, "Old mate, said that I'm never going to leave. Well, guess what? I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And the day I come back, I'll be in my AMG as a joke." It's not going to be a joke. I will end up getting my AMG one day. There were the two aha moments. And then from those two moments, my mind just changed. It changed to a point where I was like, I have to leave now. And once my mind and my heart decided I was going to leave, there was no turning back. And it got to a point where I was feeling anxious, so anxious that if I didn't tell my boss that I was going to leave, I couldn't eat. So for 2 weeks, because that actual moment when I decided I was going to leave, it happened like a couple of days before Christmas break.
Mm-hmm.
And then we all went on holidays. And during that whole time, I was like just super anxious because I was like, I need to tell him I'm going to leave.
Because you haven't told him.
I haven't told him yet, but I was already checked out in my mind and my heart. So then I was like, I got to tell this guy because my personality is like, if I feel anxious about something, it could be like a dispute I've had with someone or whatever. Like I got a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person I want to resolve things as soon as possible.
Just before we go in, I think that's a hallmark of an entrepreneur though. Just that feeling of needing to do action. If you don't do that action, it eats at you.
Eats your heart.
That happens to me as well. Like I've got something I haven't done or something I need to get to. And as an entrepreneur, like you have so much stuff to do. So you set yourself like 3 goals to do for the day, and then you end up doing like other tasks, right? And then if you don't finish those 3 goals that you set for yourself, that anxiety just keeps coming at you to the point like that can affect your mental state, can affect your family, and just can affect like your surrounding as well. Yeah,
the number one thing it affected for me was my appetite, and I'm I'm a big eater.
100%.
So for me to not eat, it's like something's wrong, So once I told my boss, I was like, that's it. Yeah. It's done and dusted.
So I'm seeing 3 things, right? 3 things that I think people should take into consideration when you're thinking about, I want to make that jump. I want to be the entrepreneur. So face that fear, because fear is always going to be there. 2 is be in a room with people bigger than you. Because like, if you're not in that type of environment, surrounded by people who are actually killing it in their game, and you're the smallest fish there, it's going to be hard to be like, okay, well, I'm comfortable here, because you're surrounded with sharks. You want to be a shark, right? And then 3rd is that what's the thing you said about that one person saying that you will never the want or the ability to face someone saying no, or someone that disbelief at you.
Disbelief. That's what it is. It's like, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to prove you wrong mentality. That's the one.
And I think that one really got me across the line.
100%.
And like I said, like it was never a financial thing as much as like I was like, oh, I want to make more money. Eventually, it was the fact that like I just wasn't growing anymore. So I think a lot of probably full-time corporate people will feel the same. It's like once you reach a limit, and I think a very important point is like I was the only videographer at this place.
Yeah.
So there's no one teaching me. Like if for me to grow, it's like I need to self-educate myself. And that's just like, it's not ideal. Whereas if you worked for say like a film company or something like that, and there's all these gurus and guns, like you might not never stop learning, and that's good because you're growing. Yeah. But for me, like mate, I'm filming the same thing. I'm not growing, I'm not learning. And that was a key element to it. And then eventually like, just having something that I could call for myself.
There's a quote that I like to say. I've been saying this to everyone who's thinking about becoming a business owner or is a business owner. And the quote is by James Clear and says, "Entrepreneurship is a self-development exercise masquerading as a capitalist venture." Right?
I have no idea what that means.
It means that to grow, is synonymous to becoming the next version of the business owner that you want to be,
Mm.
right? So at every step of the journey that you are growing yourself, your business is gonna grow with you. And if your mental state is shit, if you have a bad breakup, if you're going through divorce, that mental state is gonna affect the way that you're actually going to work within your business. So finding that peace, that calm, that spirituality even will help you grow your business. And for me, that's what I've seen happen along the way, right? So that's why I'm constantly working on myself. I have business coaches, I have therapists that help me navigate my mind, which is like a very, very messy a lot of the times, right?
Yeah, I think that goes to my next point about, I don't know if they call it law of attraction, but I have like a very respected, I don't want to call him a mentor, but respected friend called Brian. He does, breath work and really just helps me motivate myself through things that I've gone through in my life. And he said something really important to me that changed my whole trajectory of running this business. So the first year after I left my full-time job, I was like, I just need to make the same amount of money I made at my full-time job. That's what I said to him. I was like, as long as I can make the exact same amount, it's a win. It's like, I've done well.
Have you done well?
And then this is what he said to me. He goes, you can't think like that. And I was like, why? He goes, you're going to be working at least 10 times harder to make that same amount of money. That means you need to be making 10 times more. He put it through in a much better sort of scenario.
Can you say that again? Can you say that?
Yeah. So I want to make, let's just say I earned $100,000 at a full-time job, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying if I can make $100,000 in my first year of running my own business, it's a success for me. But that $100,000 that you're going to make is going to be a lot harder than $100,000 working at the full-time job by like at least 10 times easier, right?
And it's going to buy you less than what you can get at a full-time job too.
You're going to be working way harder, less time with the family, no flexibility, no holidays, no sick leave, insurances, all the overheads, no super, all of those things, right? So then I was like, oh, wow, that's a really interesting way to look at it. And then he gave me a couple of YouTube videos to listen to some audio recordings of, the way you should be thinking about life. And I took it very seriously, especially at that time because I was going into business. And then I was like, all right, I got to change the way I think of this. And the minute I started doing that, it just changed everything. It just changed everything. And I started to attract more people that wanted to do business. And yeah, it's done really well for me. So thank you, Brian.
There's a weird thing with business. Like even it doesn't matter which business you do, but there's a weird thing. But as you grow, as you make more money, as your team grows, it becomes more of a woo-woo situation. And I find that very, very strange, but it works, right? So you mentioned the law of attraction. That's one of the things people are like, oh, we're just manifesting. What does that even mean, right? But it works. Like the bigger you get, the more into that whole spirituality that you want to get in, and you want to sort of grow that mindset, and you want to grow that leadership skill kind of thing. So yeah, I
think just for like other people getting into business, like I have a lot of because I do a lot of stuff with like younger people, and I've had a lot of young people hit me up and they want to go in full time, and sometimes I think like there's a time for it, like a lot of young guys want to get into it straight away, and then they want to niche out, and there's probably a lot of like you would agree there's many different ways to get into it, but I think the most important thing is time. Yeah, like you can't just like you see people doing it, so you want to do it, but like
what do you mean by time?
Time is like everything has a time, like you can't just do like. Time works itself out. Like I always say, I wish I had kids when I was a bit younger, but it wasn't the right time. Even with like business for me, it's like for example, if I knew that business was going to be this good for me, why didn't I do it 5 years sooner?
100%.
Because it wasn't the right time. Because everything is about timing.
Yeah. But at the same time, there's never the perfect time as well.
There is never the perfect
time. Just taking that leap of faith and facing the fear and proving everybody wrong. It's about making your own time, making your own pathway to get to where you want to be, right? So, and there's a flip side to that I think about, and I've been thinking about it very often lately, is patience, right? As a business owner, like a new one especially, you want to get to your goals as fast as you can, like jumping in the deep end and figuring it out. But the thing is, I'm at that point now that, I've got a daughter now. I've got a family. I've got mortgages like you, and I just don't have that capacity to want to jump in the deep end as much as I used to want to. But at the same time, I'm also in a position now where we can sort of take a step back and really analyze where we want to go and be very clear on which goal we want to reach, instead of jumping in the deep end and figuring out and then getting to a goal that you're like, oh, okay, well, cool, I got here. What next? You know?
Yeah. But says the guy that's got like 10 employees.
Mate, it comes with its own headaches. But,
of course.
That's another thing that I want to touch on, is like company culture, or just culture or values, right? And we started figuring something out within myself is, yes, I have 10 employees, but how I look at my people is more like, how can I take care of them? How can they grow in this business with me, right? There's too many people thinking out there, especially for those who haven't really hired before. They think of, what can that person do for me, right? How can they get into my workplace and follow my system and do the things that I want to do? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for a team to grow, to have that value, and the value is to really think of the mindset of, okay, can I take care of these people along with me? Can I win with? Can they win with me, and can I win with them too? What can they bring to the workplace that can grow the company?
Yeah, I think recently hired Johnny full time.
Yeah,
and he comes with no experience, like in a professional setting. But that wasn't what I was looking for. I mean, of course, great if he had it. That's even a plus. But the number one thing was like, this game, you could do it on your own, but it's going to be very lonely.
Yeah.
So, and it was like, you wanted someone they can just roll with, have a good time, and be able to get the job done. And he's learning super quickly. And I think, one thing for me is like, I didn't have a constant mentor to like help me in my video journey, but I had a lot of people influence me and teach me a lot of things along the way. But now I can be that for Johnny. And of course, like, I don't know everything, but I know enough to be able to get him to the next level. So yeah, it's been good, man. Like it's been amazing. And obviously, my wife Yumi's like plays a big part in everything and keeping me grounded and helping the business. And now we got an editor as well. So yeah, it's slow and steady, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think I want to ever grow to like as big as you in terms of like numbers, but just
talk to me in 5 years.
Look, it's I mean, because it changes all the time, right?
The reason why I say 5 years is because, like, when I first met you, I was a very young videographer. I didn't really know the ropes and whatnot, and it took me 5 years to get to this point. And I don't think it's ever gonna stop growing, because eventually, and this is gonna happen to Zoku as well, for anyone who's thinking about like growing a business, it takes a life of itself, right? So and then yes, you might be one of the cogs in the business, but it will grow to the point where, okay, well, it wants to head a certain way.
Sure.
It wants to, grow in terms of revenue, in terms of culture, there's many ways that a company can grow, but there will be that critical point that you no longer matter as a boss as much as you used to. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
you're right. Like, I'm a very easygoing kind of guy, especially when it comes to like, I just have that mindset of like riding the wave,
Yeah.
Just ride the wave, wherever it takes me,
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Hey, let's talk about some of your successes, man. Like, the one thing I admire about you is your ability to tease out stories in people. So if anyone wants to have a look, if you guys check out his TikTok, his YouTube, Zoku Creative, you'll see some of the biggest videos that you've ever done. Some of them have like hundreds and thousands of views, right? And it's because when you watch them, there's a air of storytelling in each and every single one of these videos. Can you tell me a bit more about your flavor of storytelling?
Yeah, it really came out organically. Like, I didn't have this master plan. I didn't put together a strategy. I just like kind of just went with the flow, again, riding the wave. The opportunity came up to just do a good interview on my mate's story, and then one thing led to the next. Before I found out that I was just doing interviews, but what really intrigued me is just like, I've always been a guy that's likes hardship stories, like, you know, stories of adversity. I've just always liked that sort of style.
Can you give us a bit of a context of like what kind of stories are you're telling on your
Yeah,
channel?
so it really started off as like someone coming out of prison but wanting to change their lives around. That's how it started. And I was like, that's such a good story that needs to be told. And this is before like every Tom, Dick, and Harry was talking about stories of their time in prison. There's nothing wrong with it, especially when it's for a positive cause. But we started doing it when it wasn't really like the in thing. And I did it because my mate had just come out of prison and he was trying to change his life around. I was like, that's such a good story and it needs to be told. So I said, hey, let me do a YouTube story on it. And the catch is I'll do you the video for free, but let me put it up on YouTube. A joke one from Confid.
Yeah, tell us his story and how video storytelling actually helped him throughout his career.
So he's had a crazy life, but to cut it really short, he did about 10 years in prison. He came out. He was doing these boot camps in Lidcombe. I was living in Homebush at the time. He had come out of prison. We grew up together. And I was like, bro, I'm going to come to one of these boot camps if you are. He's like, come down. So I came down, did a session with him. And he's like, bro, I've been like, you know, just doing these boot camps to get going. I'm living in this house. It's winter. I'm having cold showers because hot water doesn't come out. And then this is my goal is to like just have these like ex-inmates running these boot camps. And I was like, oh man, like that's crazy. You know, I really hope you do good. And then I was thinking about, I was like, I've always wanted to do a YouTube channel. I just don't know what to do. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just do a story about you because it's like, it's a pretty cool story. Like, especially spending that much time in prison, coming out doing boot camps.
I mean, there is something about people coming out of prison and that stigma of you being in prison. No one really talks about it. So that's why I find
they all talk about it now.
Oh yeah, well that's because, you know, stories like this have been told. It's more comfortable. It's more accepted. But,
everyone's talking about it.
But back then, for me, when I first met you, you started doing these stories with prisoners. I had no interaction with prisoners before. Right, yeah. Like ex-inmates, and then seeing these guys, talking to them and realizing that, hey, these are just people too. They just happen to have sort of I don't want to say the wrong way about it, but a certain way to live. And this is why they are the way they are. It doesn't mean that they did something out of malice. And that's well, at least the guys that actually have the good stories that you've been telling, these guys don't have any malice. That's the way they were living, right?
Yeah, and I think the most important point from Joe was he wanted to change the social perception on ex-inmates.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, let me help you do that. Because, you know, everyone deserves a second chance. Like we've all made millions of mistakes. Some of them, maybe, you know, a lot of people make mistakes where they just didn't get caught. A lot of people should probably be in jail for a lot of stuff they've done. But for some people, they just got caught.
Yeah.
There's a million people out there that's doing bad things, but they're not in jail. That's all the difference is, right?
So what, you told his story. You did that was your first video?
First ever YouTube video, got 100,000 views in like a few months, which is like almost unheard of on YouTube 5-6 years ago. And not that we did it for the views, but it went almost, I would call that kind of viral in a sense. And Joe just got crazy opportunity out of it. And I was like, bro, that's amazing. You know, like
speaking gigs.
like people, it got a lot of attention because they're like, who is this guy? But the most important moral of the story is that he was trying to do something positive. And people saw that because it's like, it's authentic. It was genuine. He's not trying to hide things. He said what he did. And then he was talking about the action he's doing. And that's what really resonated with the audience. And again, there wasn't many people
I love that. I love that. I mean, look, even I've just watched one of your videos before you came in, and it was about Andrew Hamilton. Like he has a crazy story. I thought he was just a comedian, but he's got a huge backstory as well.
That's another funny one, bro. Let me say it. So Jay was like, "Oh, you got to do a story on Andrew," and I was like, "Oh yeah, you reckon he'll do all right?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, I mean, it is the right feel. Like he's done time before and." I was kind of contemplating it. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then I had Andrew come in and found out that we had all these mutual friends as well. We grew up in a similar area.
That's nuts.
And then that is the most watched video on the YouTube channel. And of course, that's because of his fame he's, had on all his channels on YouTube as well. So,
man, I love this. I've always wanted to pick your brain about like how you go through storytelling and whatnot. But summarize for me, what can people learn from this as business owners, as people wanting to create content for their own personal brand, their own authenticity, like what can people learn out of this, and how can they get into it?
It's a great question. I think for me, I just ask questions that I want to ask. I want to ask sensitive questions. So I feel like, when I also interview people I want to interview. So that's very important. But that might not always be the case, especially if you work in corporate and, you're working for all types of people. But what's helped me a lot is asking questions, but structuring it in a way like you want it to be like a story. You want it to have the foundations, the intros, the adversities, the future, the big turnaround. Have that really nice structure, but each element of the story or the questions you're asking needs to have some sort of educational value to the person watching. So there's no real formula for it. And I think, I've had a lot of interviews where I've struggled as well in the responses that I've got, right? There is that. So you've got 3 types of people, in my opinion, when you interview someone. You've got one, which is the most ideal person, is that they know how to talk, which is great. A lot of people who's done time in prison know how to talk because they're not shy and it's no filter. So actually a lot of like ex-inmates are great candidates for interviews.
No way.
Yeah,
really?
Because mate, they've been in environments that's like the most toughest environments. So you put them behind a camera, they're not worried about that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they're just, what's that to them? A camera?
Yeah.
Mate,
They've gone through the hardest thing in their life.
They've been in a jungle full of gorillas, mate.
Yeah.
And then the second one is people that are very, very short answers, which is a very tricky one because you got to be quick with it.
Yeah.
You got to come up with a question to follow up.
Yeah.
And then the third one is they don't stop talking and you don't know when to interrupt them to go, hey. So, I've put in things in place now that you've learned is making sure you tell them what the expectation is before you do the interview. Because if you don't, you're either going to get your short answers or you're going to get extremely long answers. So you want a good combination of both. And you might even be like, hey, just so you know, if the answer's a bit long, I'm going to have to interrupt you. Don't take it in the wrong way. This is for the best outcome.
Yeah,
of the
you need
video.
to vanguard it, basically.
Vanguard it. And these are very good practices for when you're in the professional setting for corporates, right? Yeah. So that's what I do. Because if you set the expectation early, there's nothing to worry about afterwards. And you don't want to upset like someone that's just done 10 years in prison. Go, hey mate, stop talking when they're saying something emotional. But also
it's like who are you? This little kid's never been in little prison.
Asian bloke, just like but you got to pick the moments too. You got to pick the right moments to interrupt someone.
Yeah. So do you apply some of these interviewing techniques for your clients now? Like
100%. 100%. I think like, especially in the corporate space, because I've only worked in the corporate space. Like I know how to work with corporates. And to be honest, it's the same way I work with anyone. I don't really change. I'll work with a CEO the same way I work with ex-inmate. The respect, the way I speak, it doesn't change. Maybe the way I speak might change a bit more casual. But it's the same.
No, I think the cool thing is because I've been studying communication. I've been training in communication for the last 2 years, and having that understanding of how people are, just the 3 personalities that you're seeing. I'm sort of seeing the same thing with my corporate clients, where there are some that they just don't want to stop talking, and it's like they finally have the opportunity to say their piece, so they're just gonna say it, and that's okay. Those people are great because you can tease a great story out of them. And there's those who are very, very self-confident. They have never been in front of a camera. They've never been asked an opinion. They've just been, in the weeds, doing their work, not worried about anybody else. And no one's really asked them about how to talk about anything, right? So those are and the short answer guys too. And those guys you usually have to prompt them. Hey, can you say this for me in that particular way? Because I think there's a great story here, but you're not really giving it to me, right?
Yeah. I mean, my probably shouldn't give this one away, but the number one tip is like line reads. So like if you have like a corporate client and you don't get the right answer, like just having a couple of lines prepared.
Oh, 100%.
For them to say. That's always like, you're always going to get something good that's usable.
Here's a very hot topic that I've seen people like to argue about. Are you a teleprompter kind of guy or not teleprompter?
I did see that. Mate, I always have one on standby because, if they want to use it, like why not? It really depends on like the job really, right? Like some things need to have a teleprompter.
Yeah.
Like some things just need it. Some people just aren't comfortable on camera. How many times have you done a video where they can't do something or they can't execute it, and you've got 50 recordings from the one video, and then you've spent 1 hour just trying to get one recording.
Like, I mean, people are definitely more forgiving than you think they are when they are watching a video, right? So I've met some people where they're like, no, I don't want to use teleprompter. It sounds too ready, like it's too robotic. It's not authentic. But mate, the person is not going to be authentic anyways because they are very nervous right now, and they're not going to be confident just answering questions off the cuff.
Yes, it depends on the client.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. Like the best of the best use teleprompters, you know, and if you can help guide them through the teleprompter, you can still get a very good product.
Yeah. Okay, so we've learned in this episode, we've actually learned, how to be an entrepreneur, how to get into the game, right? How to face your fears, to prove people wrong, to be in a room with sharks. We've learned about your story about, how to tell a great story for videos, right? And you've provided some great tips. Is there anything that you'd like to ask me? Are you curious about anything that we've been doing here at AM as well?
You've been in the game for say 5-6 years now by yourself.
Yeah.
And obviously I've just gone through my first year. What would be your best advice and your best learnings from the 5 years you've been running a business to help you get through to the next level sooner? Mentors. In terms of growing the business.
Yeah. The answer to that is mentors, right? There was not one time in my 5-year journey of growing this business that did I not have someone beside me, whether it's you, my mate David Miller, my friend Chloe Vaughn. You guys taught me different types of videography and where I didn't want to be, right? So I didn't want to be in the wedding space. I didn't want to be in the real estate space. And I found that, because of my business background, where I found most success is in the marketing side of things. So learning strategy. And the whole idea of having someone next to you hasn't stopped. I started, paying for business coaches. I've learned under Vin Zhang. I've learned under Matt Purcell. I learned under my current coach, Etan Sudos, right? So all these guys helped me grow fast. Even my therapist actually helped me figure out a whole ton of trauma that was blocking me from growing my business and myself, right? So we talked about how, if you don't fix yourself, if you're not in a good mind state, your business is not going to grow because it depends on you as a person to grow along with it, right? So one of my biggest tips is start finding that person that is going to help you. And by that, I mean, going out there, ask questions. I mean, with you, right? We haven't spoke for 10 years. And I just happened to see your video online and I just hit up the question like, hey, I see what you're doing. I'm getting into the game too. Is there any tips that you can give me?
So let me ask you. So obviously mentors is very of a macro sense, but what's something that a mentor has told you that's really stuck you through to take you to the next level?
Confidence is a feeling. You can't control a feeling. What you can control is the framework you operate under and the experience that you have. So gain more experience by doing, by taking action, right? And then the framework is a strategy that you learn along the way that you can implement with those strategies, with those experiences. And with that, you can mitigate the whole confidence issue because you know your stuff, confidence will come with it.
I actually met someone that was going to buy gear off, like just on Marketplace. I was looking at some lenses. I went to go see him. And then this guy was running an agency for about 10 years. And just from that 5 to 10 minute conversation I had with him, he was dropping knowledge, like crazy knowledge. And I was like, wow, this is like, it opens up your eyes, because every videographer or agencies, they have a different model, different structure, different niches. There's no one way about it, like there's so many different ways. And until even myself, when I started to speak to different clients and, get on different retainers or different pricings for different videos, you don't really know what you're capable
100%,
of.
yeah.
And for me, I'm like at a stage where I'm like, yeah, I can get more work, but at the same time, like it's comfortable. Like how ready am I to sort of take it to the next level? But even if you're ready to take it to the next level, it just doesn't happen like that.
No.
You got to go look for it. You got to go chase it.
You need to set the intention. Is what I'm saying.
Exactly. So I think it's, for now, like I'm pretty comfortable where I am, but I see the value in like a mentor, and I think I see a value in like someone that's run an agency the way I would want to run it.
100%. Yeah. I mean, knowledge is not something that you act on straight away. Like the things that you learn might take 5-6 months, a year, 2 years, even before it actually clicks, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like when I say find mentors, have a chat with people, like show them your problem, because people are more likely to help you. Sorry, let me rephrase that. People are more willing to help you than you think they would, right? So if you have a problem, if you show them that problem, they will help you, right? And by the way, when I say mentors, I'm also saying that there are other people around you as well that could teach you something different that you had never thought of. When Jerome came into our organization, he instantly improved the quality of the videos. And me, being a young videographer at the time, I was like, what? You can light? You know, you can actually have better sound. And it's cool because, you know, if you act as a student wherever you go, right, despite your position in the company, you will learn something that will actually improve yourself and hence your company as well.
Yeah, we love you, Jerome.
Yeah, we love you, Jerome. Yeah, both of us do. But you're mine.
Hey, you're on a Lexus, Jerome? Yeah, man, no, 100%. I think, like, you know, in a scheme of things, but like just the people you have, the relationships, like I always keep saying how important relationships are. And I wouldn't be where I am today, especially with the business, without the relationships I made. Especially, like, I think if anyone's wanting to go off on their own, don't go off on your own if you don't have good relationships.
Say that again, man. Like, I'm going to replay that.
For at the end of the day, like, there is a lot of work out there. There is enough food for everyone to eat.
100%.
That's just not in videography, you know? Like, I was actually doing a job for a painter and he's like, mate, I'm chockers. I'm nonstop. Mate, how many painters are there in Sydney or just in Australia, in the world? Even videographers, there's a million videographers. There's a million clients. Like, there's so much to eat, and that's the thing. Like, I think in the videography game, one of the things I saw as I was growing up in the field is that there's a lot of collaboration, a lot more collaboration than you think. Like, people just throwing work each other's way. I mean, I just threw the Melbourne, like, you know, the F1 job that we did last year. This year, I just gave it to one of the videographers down in Melbourne because we couldn't do it, right? So, well, we could have. Did I eat too much last year when we went?
But point is like, just we're here to look out for each other, and like you cannot have that ill feeling or that bad feeling towards anybody in a game, because that's just gonna ruin the way that you run your own business.
Yeah, I think, like, emotionally, how you feel really will navigate your whole life, not just in business. Like family, friendship, like I say, like, you know, I've got everything under control. I don't. No one does, really.
I don't think any entrepreneurs have anything under control at any point in time.
But, you know, it's very important to just be grounded, you know?
Yeah.
And just, like, just be feeling blessed. Like, look at yourself, bro. Like, you know, even if you had that negative mindset about that client, like, you got to always see the grass is green on the other side. Like, you've been able to get yourself to a point where, you know, you've been able to hire a lot of people. And, you know, I think at the end of the day, it's like, it's not a competition, but it's everyone's just out there to just eat, really. You know what I mean? And there's just so much work out there. Like, you can get whatever you want, you know? But I think, like, you know, this changes the topic a bit, but when I came into doing this full time, my biggest thing was I don't want to be like anyone else. When I say that, it was like, how can I differentiate what we're doing with, like, say, for example, you, or with another video agency? And I know, like, another agency like VidZero, which you know, like you VidZero and you guys really helped me get through my first year, because I knew you guys were giving me work and helping me set up my business in the background. And VidZero really focuses on the charity side. And I was like, I like that. And then that's where, you know, we started working in the prisons with the kids and stuff. And I was like, that's where I knew, like, that was our point of difference. Is
that's
like
your flavor.
With the kids.
That's your flavor, yeah.
And it didn't just happen, like, it's been happening before I was even doing video. Like, as soon as I did that job with Joe for the Confit video, and and Joe started working in the prisons, like, he's like, "Boy, I need you to come in and film it." So we were doing that for, like, years before we started going in and doing workshops in there as well. And a lot of people don't know, like, you know, I worked as a tennis coach, swimming coach for kids. And then I worked in social work for 3 years during uni. And then now I'm working in Cobham. So like my experience with working with kids dates back, 2 decades. And I love working with kids because, we've all had troubles in our life. And I wish I found video sooner, because if I had found video sooner, mate, I would be a gun. Like I'd be so much better than I am now. But again, the timing wasn't right. But the reason why it works so well for me now is not just because I can do video, but it's because of all the lessons I've learned outside of video that makes me the person I am today to be able to run a business. Like I don't just do video. I have 12 years of digital marketing background as well. I have graphic design background. And on top of that, I've done probably 15 different types of jobs, from mopping the floors, working in the warehouses, to squeezing spinach at an Italian fruit shop. La Vinona, I won't forget those days, $13 an hour, working at KFC. I've done every job you can think of. And I always tell these kids, it goes, you never say no to an opportunity, because all these opportunities will one day lead you to finding what you want to do. And how do you know what you want to do if you don't do so many different things? And I'm very blessed to have found video. And now it's my mission to make video something suitable for like the younger kids, rather than, doing crime. A lot of these kids, like, they think once they leave like juvie, they just go and lay bricks, or they become a roofer or tiler. And that's fine too, but it's a lot of physical strain that you're going to put yourself through. And I go, mate, just hold a camera.
Your point, man, to your point about like sharing the art of video, or rather the career of videos to some of these young kids. So I did a talk at Seven Hills High School, and they invited me to share what I do and like how much I make. And some of these kids, right, they were like, so you do videos, how much is that camera? I'm like, 15,000. They're like, oh, wow. And the question I get asked is like, how much do you make? And then I tell them, oh, in one day you can get anywhere from 500 to 30,000. They're like, that much? And the light in their eyes when they find something that's possible, or rather they see a template that they can achieve, that's to me, that's a beautiful thing. Because when you impart knowledge on kids, you see them sort of shift in a way of doing things to get to their goals, right? So it's a cool thing to see. Well,
and that's like a huge part in doing the introductory to videography, especially in the prison scene, because these kids, most of them are very money driven, but just the illegal way. So the minute you talk about like how much you can make from a video and just holding a camera, obviously, when we say just holding a camera, there's a lot more to it than just holding a camera.
Yeah, 100%.
But, to put it fluffy, to fluff them up, a camera can make you a lot of money.
To put it fluffy, sorry.
To fluff them up.
Okay.
Well, to fluff them up, like to fluff them up, just holding a camera can make you a lot of good money.
Yeah.
And and on top of that, it's not just about the camera, it's about the creative sector. Like being part of the video industry, there's so many different, sectors you can go into within video. You don't need to be extroverted. There's a lot of introverted jobs out there. Like you could be editing, or you can be introverted like Jerome back in the days, holding his light pole.
Mate,
he's changed now.
Jerome, he's a CEO quality material right here, mate.
Well, he went from introvert to extrovert. But yeah, like you can change, you can develop yourself, and you can dabble in different things. Yeah, and that's what I love about it is you don't have to just hold a camera. There's so many different elements of it that you can grow. So
I've actually taken a step back from using cameras, and I've gone more into the strategy and communications. So teaching people how to be in front of a camera, what videos to make, what content would be good for them. So I wholly agree with you. As someone who's been in the game for 2 years now, what would you say to your past self, that person who was fearful, who was saying, oh, I'll get to my own business one day? What would you say to him?
I think the number one thing is like I underestimated myself and what I'm actually capable of. And I shouldn't have, because I'm not trying to fluff myself up. I know you like that word. I'm not trying to fluff myself up, but if I'm not going to fluff myself up, who else is going to fluff yourself up? Right? So I think the number one thing is everything I've ever done in my life, I've always gone hard. Doesn't matter what. And I might have not got, first place in everything, but I always went hard. So I think the number one thing is like, if you don't believe in yourself, no one is going to believe in yourself for you. And once I actually took the step and I was like, holy shit, I can actually do this and I can actually do it pretty good. So I think it's really just believing in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, no one's going to believe in you. So just take the plunge. And once you take the plunge, you don't look back, but you got to take the plunge at the right time. And I know you said there's no right timing, but it's putting in the framework, you know, having the right people around you, people you can trust, people you can rely on if things were to go down. Because I always said, you know, put it this way, bro, like that first week of going into so I just finished my full-time job. I was about to start. I look at my calendar, I got nothing in there, right?
Wow.
There's nothing in my calendar. There's no emails coming through. And I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? Like seriously, like, because when I worked full-time and people were hitting me up for jobs, that was all reactive. But when you go into your own business, you got to be proactive. And the number one thing is before you can sell a service, before you actually go off and do video, which is what you can do, you need to know how to sell the video first. And I was like, shit, I've never had to sell.
Yeah.
I've never had to sell the video because it was all just coming to me. Hey, can you do this video? Sure, I could do this video for you. But now I was like, I had to do it myself. So yeah, that was like a big thing. And I was like, you know what, to the missus, I was like, worst case scenario, I'll just drive Uber. I can, because there's so many opportunities now.
I've actually done it. I've actually done that.
Yeah, you can do Uber. I live near the Amazon distribution center. I can go and drop some deliveries.
I remember like for me as well, like when early on 2-3 years ago, I was still driving Uber while still working at AM Visuals.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But you know, thank God I didn't have to.
Yeah.
But I was willing to do it. I was willing to make those sacrifices. And
That's right.
And then I look back at my life and I go, I've always been willing to make sacrifices. My whole life I've been doing that. So it's just like all of the stuff that I was fearful of, I've been doing it my whole life. It was just a matter of like taking that next step. And now that I've taken it, I was like, man, I'll never look back anymore, you know? So
my brother Tak, thank you for coming on, bro.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Powerful talk.
Let's see if this one goes live.